in the bacon, fat, in the bacon, fat, all tastes like bacon, fat, and it all tastes like bacon, in the bacon, in the bacon, fat, in the bacon, fat, all tastes like bacon, and then you put all tastes like bacon, the mince.
Why are you putting mince?
Because then you've got the girth. That's what you're not getting. That's what you're not getting, Sam. This is what I mean. You've got the That's what you're not getting. That's what you're not getting, Sam. This is what I mean.
Greetings, my loyal citizens of the Imperium, my beautiful queechlings. I am the Remembrancer, the Slam King, and tonight it's going to be some more tales from the 41st Millennium. We're going to read chapters 9 and 10 of Flight of the Eisenstein. We're going to find out exactly what's going on with Nathaniel Garro. So, how is everybody? How are we all doing out there in the fucking Queechiverse? We're halfway through the work week. How's everybody's week going? I hope. Let me know in the chat. Who have we got? Let's have a look. I apologize for my lateness as well. There was many things that I was struggling to get done. So, yes, I apologize for my tardiness. And then, to top it all off, I couldn't get my outfit on. So that was great. So I had to take my whole outfit apart because I couldn't find the hood. I couldn't find the head hole. All the holes were too tight. Let's see who we've got in the chat tonight. We've got the moderator Supreme Chaka. How are you doing, Chaka? We've got 666 Heretic. We've got Leeds J, Nossert. We've got Tweak, Black Moon. We've got Eno, Jesky's fella, and Sir Schuster. How are we all doing? If I've missed anyone, let me know. Oh, Cecil's here as well. Hello, Cecil. If I've missed anyone, let me know. As we know, the Queechybot cannot always be trusted. Do you know what I mean? Marco Cadoni, how you doing? Big love, welcome. So what are we saying? Jesky's busy this week, getting tattooed on Friday.
Greetings, dear Queechlings. I am Imperial Servo Skull Unit, Nigel.
Oh, hello, Nigel.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Oh, how lovely. How lovely. It's nice to see you, Nigel. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. It's always nice to have a friendly face, isn't it? Even if all you are is a face.
That is very funny, Slam King.
Well, I am quite funny. Thanks, Nigel. Right. Okay. What else? Oh, Leeds J is sick as a fucking dog. Oh, Jesus Christ. You've not got the Steagle AIDS, have you? That's what Steve's got. He's got Seagull AIDS. I've heard it's going round. Jesky's fella been working on this fucking Shadow Sword conversion for a few hours. The glue fumes have hit just right. Is that big thing that you posted in the Discord? Because if it is, that looks fucking sick. If that's the thing that you're working on. It was fucking awesome. Chaka's been on a 7-kilometer bike. Yo! Snow! Snow, brother Snow, has resubscribed for 7 Imperial months. Cheers, Snow. Massive love. Massive, massive love. Hey, guess what? That puts us on the... that puts us on for a giveaway. Let's just do it straight away. You know the drill. Twitch subscribers. Exclamation mark raffle in the chat. Which one are we doing it for? Let me have a look. Which Imperial relic will be given away tonight? It's open right now. 114. Official Slam King logo patch. Number 114. That is what we are giving away. You've got 5 minutes to enter. Twitch subscribers. Jeski's fella, yeah, man, things a labour of love, but thank you. Dude, you're welcome. It looks fucking awesome. Jeski, I can smell the fumes from the back room. Chaka, why does one of the birds missing an eye in the logo? Because one of the birds is looking into the past and one of the birds is looking into the future. Do you mean the Imperial Aquila up there, the two-headed eagle? One of it has an eye and one of it doesn't have an eye, because one of it's looking into the past and one of it's looking into the future. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And the two heads themselves, I think they represent the Imperium of man and the Mechanicus of Mars. But I think one of them has an eye and one doesn't, because one's supposed to be looking into the past and one's supposed to be looking into the future. I think. I'm sure if somebody else knows better, I'm sure they'll correct me. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm quite certain that's what it is. So yeah, I think the two heads themselves represent the two arms. Basically the two sides of the... Whoa! Nasser! With the 9-month resub! Massive love! Thank you so much, Nasser. Huge love. Huge, huge love. Massively appreciate that. Cheers, guys. That's what I'm talking about. Fantastic. Love it. But yeah, so the two heads are supposed to represent the two different sides of what is collectively the Imperium of man. So you've got the Earth and Mars, basically. So Earth is the Imperium proper, and then Mars is the Mechanicum. And the Mechanicum are basically who build all of the tech for the Imperium. So then they didn't used to be one, and until basically the Emperor made some kind of pact with them, and then they joined the Imperium, and then it became the Imperium proper. Chaka, also another important question. How's the Morton toe? Hopefully better. It still hurts. It still hurts. It doesn't hurt as much as it did last night, but it does hurt. It still hurts. Also, my toe isn't as long as that toe that was posted in the Discord. That is a long toe. Mine's just a tiny bit longer than my big toe. It's not like that. That's like a fucking finger on his foot. Whoever's that is. It's wild. Normal though. Completely normal. I'm just scrolling back. Who else we got in the chat? Oh, por favor. That's a bit of Imperial Gothic for you, that. Bit of low Gothic, Imperial low Gothic. Sir Schuster, that's a mutie. Chaka, a mini Morton then. It is a mini Morton. It is a mini Morton. It's not quite a full... Never go full Morton. That's what my grandma always used to say. Do you know what I mean? If you can scratch your own arsehole with your toe, then you've gone full Morton. She used to say that as well. Snow. Yeah, I think the blind one looks to the past, and the one with the eye is the future in the Emperor's vision for the galaxy. Yeah, there we go. You phrased that far more eloquently than my humble lips could. Snow. So, where were we up to last week? Oh, the giveaway stopped. Should we just do it? Should we just do it? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Oh, we only had 3 entrants. Let's pick one. Tweak! There we go. You've won. Tweak, have you already won one? Have you already got one? I'm sure I sent one to you this week. Hey, Shannon. How you doing, Shannon? Tweak, you've just won a patch, but I'm pretty sure you've already won one. So that means that you get to pick a subscriber that hasn't yet won a patch. So, if you are a Twitch subscriber, type in the chat now, and then Tweak can pick who gets the patch. There we go. There we go. I don't know how many of us we've got left who hasn't got a patch now. Sir Schuster, have you ever played Warhammer 40k Blackstone Fortress? I have not. I have not. Do you know what? I haven't played an actual...
You deserve it.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on?
Big loves to the Slam King.
Hey! Tweaks just picked up a fucking t-shirt. Amazing. Massive love. Thanks, Tweak. Cheers, Tweak. Enjoy that fucking t-shirt. Nice one. Thank you so much, Tweak. Tweak, if you're back. Tweak, if you're back. Was it a hoodie? Was it a hoodie? I couldn't see. Is it a hoodie? Have you picked up the hoodie? Amazing. Nice one. Thank you so much. I can't see. I've only got one real eye, you see. And the flesh is weak. So this is my only good eye at the moment. Thank you so much, Tweak. Tweak, by the way, you won the patch giveaway, but obviously you've already got a patch, or it's at least on its way to you, because I sent it the other day. So that means that you get to pick a subscriber who hasn't yet won a patch. So Shannon said that she hasn't won one yet. Is there anybody else watching who's subscribed on Twitch who hasn't yet won one of these rather amazing Slam King logo patches? Because Tweak gets to pick. Tweak gets to pick. Your fate is in Tweak's hands. Shannon can have it. All right. Oh, the patch arrived today. Amazing. Shannon, Tweak has chosen you. You are the chosen one. And we shall bestow this gift upon you. Shannon, send me a message on Discord with the number 114. Send me a private message on Discord with 114, and I'll get you details, and I'll get this sent out to you. Massive, massive love. Can we get a flock of steagles in the Imperial chat for Tweak and for Shannon, please? Some celebratory steagles. That would be lovely. That would be most blessed. In the Emperor's name. So, Tweak, your patch arrived today. Oh, look at that. Oh, don't be sneaking in the Blue Jays. Don't be sneaking in the Blue Jays. We don't want no sneaky Blue Jays in there. Congratulations, Shannon. Yeah, send me a DM. Send me a Discord message. 114. And we'll get that sorted for you. Lovely stuff. Oh, we've got a 7-time Steagle combo in the chat, apparently. Amazing. Jesky, my kids keep trying to steal Steve's pigeon. Oh my god. Tweak, I need to make another battle jacket because mine's full and I've lots more patches. Amazing. Well, I hope that logo patch gets pride of place, Tweak. Do you know what I mean? Oh, por favor. Right, okay. So, now all this excitement's over with. Should we get stuck into this book? So let's have a little recap of what happened last week because it was fucking exciting. It will, I ensure it. 100% bottom center at the back. Bottom center at the back. The tramp stamp. You gotta get the fucking Slam King's tramp stamp. That's amazing. That's amazing. I might have to get that. I might have to get it tattooed though. No, I agree. I remember what the agreement was. I remember what the agreement was. It was a Steagle tattoo, wasn't it? My friend actually messaged me about that the other day. Like, actually sent me a message. He was like, have you got 666 subs yet? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, right. Because he's going to do the tattoo. If we ever get there, he's going to do it. And he messaged me the other day. He was like, let me know when you do. I was like, oh, well. I was like, we'll see. On the cheek. On the arse cheek. I'll get it on the arse, if that's what you want. It's not going to be massive, though. I'm not a fucking lunatic. It'll be... I reckon about that big is fine. I think that's quite big, considering it's Steve's face. Do you know what I mean? But, yeah. We'll get it on the arse. I'll either get it on my arse or my leg. Because I don't want it on my arms. Because I'm obviously... I have sleeves. Tattoo sleeves. I don't want it on my chest or my back because I want those tattooed. But I can get it on my arse. I can get it on my arse or my leg. If it's on my arse, though, no one will ever see it. Do you know what I mean? Apart from the wife. Not that she, like, stares at my naked arse all the time or anything. That like, came across quite weird, that. But I mean, like, do you know what I mean? Because she's the only one that I'm going to get my arse out in front of, isn't she? So... Cecil, yeah, that's sound, that good size for it. Any smalls a cop out. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to cop out. I'm not copping out. But I'm not getting it fucking huge. Like, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Chaka, I'm gonna get King Wall's insane viewers to come here. He got like 12,000 subs one day. Fucking hell! Jesus Christ! Did he retire after that? Beardy James confirmed. Told you the flesh is weak. No, Cecil, there's nothing wrong with the missus looking at my ass. I'm just saying it sounded weird the way that I said it, as if I'm just getting my ass out in her face all the time, which is not true. Like, sometimes I get my ass out, like, but you gotta pull a Mooney every now and again, haven't you? Do you know what I mean? Chaka, I bet the Slam Queen would be happy about that. I don't know. I mean, she weren't happy when I got tattoos on my face. She weren't happy when I got the face tattoos. I remember I was on FaceTime to her and I was like that, talking like this, and she was like, Why have you got your face on the side? I was like, what do you mean? I don't know what you mean. And she was like, turn your face around. And I was like, I can't, I'm just looking at something over there. She's like, have you got a tattoo on your face? I was like, yeah. She was not happy. She was not happy. She was not happy. But it's only little though. I've only got 2 tattoos on my face. Do you know what I mean? So, Shannon, does Scarlet have any bracelets left? She will have, probably in a couple of weeks, just because she got so many fucking orders that she's been trying to work her way through the backlog. Like, I had to message loads of the orders for her and just let them know that that it's just going to be like a couple more weeks because of how many fucking orders she got. Because obviously she weren't expecting that to happen. Or she thought she was going to sell about 10 fucking bracelets, and it was a damn sight more than that. So yeah, she's just working her way through that, and then she's gonna make a load more, and then just put them on the Etsy thing, just so that she's not like playing catch up all the time. So she's just trying to get ahead of it. Tweak. What did that say? I thought the scrolling writing in the top corner said Imperial titties. Imperial titties. Slam King, at least you didn't go the whole hog like me. I would get more. But I've got like loads of other tattoos that I need to finish. Like, I need to finish this arm off. Do you know what I mean? So I need to finish this arm off, and then I want my chest and my back done as well. I want a big Warhammer tattoo on my chest with all 4 of the Chaos Gods. Shannon, I was going to say you can wait to send the patch and I'll buy a bracelet once they're back in stock. Saves you sending double postage. Fair enough. Yeah, if that's what you want. I mean, it makes no difference. I can send it to you. It's no biggie. Because I can just put it in a letter, the patch. So it's just, you can just bang a stamp on it and it'll be fine. It's not too expensive to send the patch, because they're dead thin, aren't they? It's like sending a piece of paper. A piece of paper. So it's up to you. You just let me know. Jacka, just let her sell some she has already, and then set a date when a new batch comes out. Many who make jewelry does that. Ah, that's a good idea. Yeah, she just needs, once she's got all the she's got through all the orders, because she's well over halfway through them, because there was so many. So many. And the problem that she did was that she said, oh, I'll do custom orders as well. And it was like loads of them were custom orders. So like, it made it well harder for her. Do you know what I mean? Because loads of them were all different, rather than, you know, like loads of Ultramarines or loads of Space Wolves or loads of Imperial Fists or whatever. Like, loads of them were like custom ones. So it took her longer to do them and shit, but she's nearly through them now, so. Shackle Shoveler on YouTube. I misread the title of this stream as Flight of the Epstein. I was worried what type of stream this was. Oh my fucking god. That is a comment, that, mate. Amazing. Jesus Christ. Well played, sir. Well played. That'd be a different book. That'd be a very different book. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Right. Oh, God. Oh, God. Bloody hell. Oh, that's too funny. Right. Okay. Dirty, I can assure you of one thing. The stream won't end itself. Oh, Jesus. Fucking hell. You guys are on fire tonight. Fuck me. God. That's amazing. That's amazing. Fucking hell. Oh, Christ. Right. Right. Enough of this. Fun and games. Let's do a recap of where we were last week. So, last week, basically, Garro found out about the virus bombs, and Grulgor and his men were loading the virus bombs into the ship's cannons to fire on Istvan 3. And Caleb went to tell him. So Caleb goes, tells Garro, and of course, Garro goes steaming right in there, and then there's this big face-off. Grulgor basically fucking shows his defiance and disdain towards the Emperor. So open rebellion now. Do you know what I mean? He said the quiet part out loud. Which obviously shocks Garro and Voyen. And a fight ensues, basically. After a lot of Grulgor's gesticulation, a fight kicks off. And Caleb, the housecarl, dies. But he dies... Well, he gets stabbed by Grulgor through the chest. And then all the virus, like, canisters crack on the floor, releasing life-eater virus, which we know what that does. It just melts organic fucking matter. And and Caleb, with his last breath, closes the blast doors, closes the airlock doors, saving Garro and Voyen. And was it Hacker who was there? I think it might have been Hacker. I'm not sure. I think it was Hacker. And he saves him because that stops the virus from getting through. Now, we don't know if Grulgor's dead or not. He was in the room, but we didn't see him die. So if you remember last week, I was saying if we didn't see Grulgor die, I don't think he's dead. So I think he's escaped somehow or something. But I don't know. I actually don't know. Although I know the main story beats of what happens in this book, this is my first time reading this book. So I don't know the details. So I don't know if Grulgor's alive or dead. But I'm sure we'll find out one way or the other. So that was what happened last week. Beardy, wife beater virus. Is it still Ratois? The wife beater virus. For fuck's sake. Oh, for fuck's sake. Right. Okay, so we're going to jump straight back in. At chapter 9. Nosset reminds me of Loken. Yeah. What, Caleb dying? The last stand. Martin, how are you doing? You alright? It's alright. We're just about to start the book now, Martin. Don't worry about it. Okay, so let's do it, shall we? Chapter 9. A prayer. Reign of death. Refugees. He was alone in the barracks compartment. Hacker and the others were about the ship, executing his orders to take Eisenstein under their complete control. Distantly, Garro thought he heard the faint echoes of bolter reports, and his lips thinned. There was only a handful of Grulgor's men still at large on board the frigate. Like his 7th Company, the majority of the late commander's 2nd was scattered elsewhere about the fleet, with only a few squads here to oppose Garro's plans. Karya's willing agreement to take the Oath of Moment had cemented his trust in the shipmaster, and through him he had control of the bridge officers. He had no doubt there would be malcontents among the naval ratings, but they would quickly fall into line when the Astartes gave them orders, and if they refused, they would not live for long. By rights, he should have been out there doing the job of securing the ship himself, but the thundering churn of emotion inside him was making it hard for Garro to concentrate. He needed a moment with his own council to center himself in the face of events that had been set in motion. Over and over, he thought of the men he had fought alongside in the hosts of the Death Guard, and wondered how and why they could turn their faces from the Emperor. For the most part, his brothers were good and honorable men, and Garro thought he knew the color of their hearts, but now he doubted that certainty. The awful realization of it was, not that his kinsmen were ready to shake off the Emperor's commands and embrace treachery, but that most of them were merely weapons. They would not pause when their orders came to them, even if those orders were beyond their comprehension. It was the lot of an Astartes simply to do, not to question, and he felt damned by the understanding that Horus would play that unswerving allegiance to his bitter ends. He had considered briefly the idea of opening up all of Einstein's vox transmitters to maximum power and broadcasting the truth of the treachery across the entire 63rd Fleet. There were noble men out there, he was sure of it. Warriors like Loken and Torgadon in the War Master's own legion, and Varen of the World Eaters. If only he could contact them, save their lives. But to do so would have meant suicide for everyone on the frigate. Every minute they kept their silence was a minute more for Garro to plan an escape with the warning. Kinsmen like Loken and the others would have to find their own path through this nightmare. The message was far more important than the lives of a handful of Astartes. Garro only hoped that once his mission had been fulfilled, he might see them again, either back on Terra at the end of their own escape, or here once more with a reprisal fleet at his back. For now, those men were on their own, as were Garro and his warriors. The battle captain crossed to the arming alcove that Caleb had set aside for him, seeing the eagle cuirass mounted there on a stand. It was polished and perfect, as if the armor had come from a museum and had not been battered in combat less than a week ago. He laid a hand on the cool ceramite and allowed himself to feel his full regret at the housecarl's death.
"You died well, Caleb Arryn,"
he told the heir.
"You did honor to the Death Guard, and to the 7th.
Garro wished that he could promise the man's memory some form of tribute. He wanted to place the serf's name upon the wall of memory on Barbarous, give him the credit as if he had been a full-fledged battle brother. But that would not happen. Not now. Garro doubted that he would ever see the dank skies of the Death Guard's homeworld again, not after the events at Istvan. Caleb's spirit would have to be content with the esteem of his master. Garro's lip curled.
Here I am, thinking of spirits, talking to myself in an empty room.
He shook his head.
What is happening to me?
Next to the cuirass, a bolter lay upon a folded green cloth, and like the armor, it too was pristine and unblemished, fresh from the Legion artificers. Garro took off a gauntlet and ran his fingers over the slab-sided breech. The weapon was deep with etchings in high Gothic script, combat honors and battle records listed along the length of it. There were names imprinted here and there, lined in dark emerald ink,
each the name of a battle brother who had carried the gun into war and perished with it on them. Garro's weapon had been lost to him on Istvan Extremis, destroyed by the brutal sonic attack of the Warsinger. Nothing but shattered, brittle metal had been left. This bolter, then, was to be his new sidearm, and it was with bittersweet pride he took it up and held it to parade ready. A new name glittered on the frame. Pierre Ral. "Thank you, brother," whispered Garro. "I will take a dozen fours with it in your name." As was the way of the Astartes, Ral's war gear was salvaged, and what could remain in use to the 14th Legion did so. In this manner, the Astartes kept the memories of their dead kinsmen alive long after they had perished. Garro's eyes fell to find a carry sack made of roughly woven fabric, lying forgotten in the corner of the alcove. He dropped into a crouch and took it up. Caleb's belongings. He sighed. When an Astartes died, there was always a brother ready to gather up the meager possessions he might have left behind and see to them. But there were no provisions for a simple housecarl. Garro felt an unfamiliar kind of sorrow over Caleb's passing. It wasn't the hard fury he had for the death of Ral, or the hundreds of others he had witnessed. Only now that Caleb was gone, did Garro understand how much he had valued the little man, as a sounding board, as a servant, as a comrade. For a moment, the captain considered ditching the sack in the nearest ejector chute and making an end of it. But that would have been ignoble. Instead, with a gentleness belied by his large, heavy hands, Garro traced through Caleb's effects, utility blades and armory tools, some changes of clothing, a trinket made from a bolter shell. He turned the object between his fingers and held it up to the lamplight. A matrix etching of the Emperor stared back at him, beneficent and all-knowing. He pocketed the icon in a belt pouch. With it, there were dog-eared papers held together by a worn strap. In places, they had been taped where they had become ripped. Some of the pages were on different kinds of paper, some handwritten, some from a crude mimeograph with words smudged and blurry from hundreds of reproductions. Garro found sketchy illustrations that made little sense to him, although he could pick out recognizable elements. Iconography of the Emperor, of terror, repeated again and again. "Laetitio Divinatus," he read aloud. "Is this what you kept from me, Caleb?"
Garro knew of the sect. They were common people who, despite the constant light of the secular imperial truth, had come to believe that the Emperor of mankind was himself a divine being. Who else, they argued, had the right to crush all other belief in gods than the one true deity himself? Was not the Emperor a singular, godlike entity? Despite his open rejection of such beliefs, the Emperor instilled such dedication and devotion, immortal and all-seeing, possessed of the greatest intellect and psychic potential of any living human in the eyes of the Laetitio Divinatus. What else could he be but a divinity? Yes, now Garro saw it. He realized Caleb's connection to this cult of the God Emperor had been there all along, simmering beneath the surface. 100 tiny words and deeds suddenly took on a new meaning in the light of this discovery. He had decried Grulgor on the gunnery deck for speaking blasphemy against the Emperor, and before, in the murk of his healing coma, Garro had heard the invocation from Caleb's lips, the entreaty for protection.
"You are of purpose,"
he intoned flatly, the housecarl's final words returning once again.
"The God Emperor wills it. His hand lies upon all of us. The Emperor protects."
He knew that it was wrong to go any further,
that it went against the letter of the imperial truth he had dedicated his life to. But still Nathaniel Garro read on, absorbing the words of the tracts, page by tattered page. Although he would never have showed it openly, the passing of hours had shaken him to his core. He had always imagined himself as a blade in the Emperor's hand, or as an arrow in mankind's quiver to be knocked and sent tearing into the heart of humanity's foes. But what was he now? All the blades were blunted and twisted upon one another, the arrows broken about their shafts. The firm ground Garro's beliefs stood upon was turning to quicksand beneath them. It was almost too much to contain within his mind. His brothers, his battle lord, his very war master all ranged against him. The blood of a death guard on his sword, and much more to come. The foreboding pall at the boundary of his thoughts, the omen of the blinded star, the smug prophecy of the dead Xenos child, and Caleb's dying plea. "Ah, it's too much!" Garro shouted, and sank to his knees, the papers tight in his hand. The horrible taint of this knowledge was a poison that threatened to shrivel his soul. Never in centuries of service had the Astartes felt himself to be so totally, so utterly vulnerable, and in that moment, he understood that there was only one to whom he could reach out. "Help me," he cried, offering his entreaty to the darkness. "I am lost." Of their own accord, Garro's hands found the shape of the Aquila, palms open across his chest. "Emperor," he choked, "give me faith." Behind his eyes, Garro felt something break loose inside him and leap. A sudden release, a flood of energy. It was beyond his ability to describe it. And there, in the gloom of the half-lit alcove, he felt the ghost of a voice brush over the edges of his psyche. A crying woman, pale and elfin, strong and delicate all at once, was calling him. The voice from his dream. "Save us, Nathaniel." Garro cried out and stumbled backwards, fighting to recover his balance. The words had been so clear and close. It was as if she had been in the chamber with him, standing at his ear. The death guard recovered his composure, panting hard, and got back to his feet. He sensed a peculiar, greasy tang in the air, fading even as he noticed it. The stroke upon his thoughts had been like the Jorgali's intrusion into his mind, but different. It shocked him in its intimacy, and yet it did not feel wrong like the telepathic touch of the alien. Garro took a shuddering breath. As quickly as it had happened, the moment vanished like vapor. He was still staring at the bundle of pages in his hand when Decius stormed into the chamber, anger tight on the young man's face. Solon Decius watched his commander stuff a fold of papers into a belt pouch and turn away, as if he wasn't ready to look the Astartes in the eye. "Decius," he managed. "Report." "Resistance was encountered," he growled. "Aye. We dealt with the remainder of Grulgor's men. They made an attempt to reach the landing bay. We suffered some casualties as they were repelled." Decius's face became a grimace. "It was a slaughter." Garro eyed him. "They would have done the same to us if we'd given them the opportunity. Why else do you think that Typhon placed both Grulgor and me aboard this ship, if not to have my command terminated when the moment came?" Decius wanted to snap out the angry reply boiling in his thoughts, to say that maybe that was true, but perhaps it was only Garro who had been on the target list. He stared angrily at the deck. What exasperated him more than anything was that he had not been given the choice. His fate was tied to the battle captain's now, whatever happened. Yes, perhaps this might have been what Decius would have chosen had he been given the opportunity, but the sheer fact he had not made him rebel against it. His mentor read the emotion on his face.
Speak plainly, lad.
What would you have me say? Decius retorted hotly.
The truth. If not here and now, and you may never get another chance,
Garro replied, keeping his tone level.
I would have you speak your mind, Solon.
There was a long pause as Decius worked to frame his resentment. I put down 3 men wearing me own colours back there, he said, jerking his head at the corridor and the ship beyond. Not Xenos, or mutants, but Death Guard. My brother Astartes.
Those men ceased to be our brethren the instant they chose Horus's path over the Emperor's.
Garro sighed.
I share the pain of this, Solon, more than you can know. But they have become traitors.
Traitors? The curse exploded from him. Who are you to decide that, Battle-Captain Garro? What authority do you have to make such a determination, sir? You are not War Master, not a Primarch, not even a First Captain. Yet you made this choice for all of us. Garro watched without responding. Decius knew that daring to take such a tone with a senior officer was worth punishment and censure. But still, he raged on. What if it's we who are the traitors, Captain? Horus will no doubt paint us as such when he learns of what you've done.
You have seen what I have seen,
said his commander evenly.
Tarvis, Grolgor, the kill orders from Eidolon and Typhon. If there is an explanation that would undo all of that, that would make this all go away, I would give much to know it.
Decius advanced a step. Well, there is something you fail to consider. Ask yourself this, my lord. What if Horus is right? He had barely uttered the question when the combat alert sirens began to wail. Say that again, snapped Demeter, pulling to the Astartes holding the long-range vox towards him. With a constant drumming of shellfire back and forth between the Death Guard assault force and the Istvanian defenders, it was difficult to hear the man's words. Another blistering salvo of Vulcan bolter fire from the Dias Irae roared over their heads, blotting out everything else as the Titan continued its slow advance. Lord! I have fragmentary signals! I can't make head nor tail of them! Just give me what you have! Demeter said, crouching down behind a broken ferrocrete emplacement, ignoring the whine of needler rounds and the snap-crack of crimson laser beams. Still nothing from the orbital elements, continued the Death Guard. I caught an intercept to the Sons of Horus, Squadler Chost, from Lucius of the Emperor's Children. Lucius? What did he say? It was very garbled, sir, but I distinctly heard the words bioweapon. Demeter's eyes narrowed. Are you certain? There was nothing in the mission briefing to indicate the Istvanians have that capability. This is their holy city, after all. Why would they deploy something like that? Demeter suddenly broke off and looked up. The overlapping sounds of the battle had become background noise to him, a constant rush of shot and shell. But suddenly something had changed. It was the Titan. The Dias Irae was only a few hundred meters from where Demeter crouched, and he had quickly become accustomed to the ground-shaking impacts it made with every footfall, anticipating the rhythm of them. But the massive humanoid machine had stilled, and now it stood there, a vast iron citadel, joints hissing and ticking. Mortar shells arced past them and impacted harmlessly on the Dias Irae's torso hull, drawing no reaction from the crew. The Titan's mighty guns were still pointed directly at enemy lines, but they were silent. What in Terra's name is that fool up to? Demeter snarled.
Raise the Titan! Get Princeps Tournay on the Vox and have him explain himself!
The captain of the 4th Company scanned the hull of machine with his optics. There was no visible damage of such scale that would cause a Titan to shut down. No possible reason that Demeter could see for it to just stop. His line of sight passed over the access hatches in the hull, and he saw all of them were shut fast. Demeter searched for and found power shaft vents in the thigh armor of the Mechanism. Normally they would be puffing with the release of spent coolant gases, but instead they were sealed. Chill knives of apprehension stabbed into him.
I can't raise the Diazire, said the other man. Why don't they answer? They must be able to hear us. A bioweapon?
Demeter reached up and checked the seals at his neck, a creeping sensation of trepidation coming over him. The captain's head tipped back, his gaze moving to take in the yellowish sky over the Titan's huge iron shoulders. He saw twinkling glitters up there, streaks cutting through the upper atmosphere with trails of white vapor behind them. The sight shocked him into action.
Squad-wide comms, now! He shouted. All Death Guard, disengage and seek cover! Bio-war alert! Make for the bunker complex to the west!
The other Astartes relayed his orders into the Vox, even as he and Demeter broke from their meager cover. Demeter saw the dreadnought Huron Farl turning in his place.
Demeter.
The venerable warrior's synthetic machine voder was loud and scratchy.
Who has done this?
No time, old friend, he said on the run. Just get the men inside, now!
With every pounding step he took, a part of Demeter's mind was reeling with the import of what was taking place. The bombs were falling, and there was only one person who could have sent them. Garro and Decius made it up the ramp to the windowed gallery overlooking the barracks chamber in time to witness the ships of the War Master's fleet open fire on Istvan III. A myriad of silver streaks, almost too fast to see with the naked eye, streamed over and around the Eisenstein and the other smaller ships at low anchor above the Coral City. Although they were just blurs, Garro didn't need to see them clearly to know what they were. Atlas-class heavy warheads converted for space-to-surface in functions, servitor-guided missile bombs, and multiple impact penetrator munitions. It seemed as if only Eisenstein's guns remained silent, as if every capital ship in the 63rd Fleet were taking some part in the brutality. The bombs came in a solid rain of murder, falling fast, turning and converging towards pre-designated target points all across the planet. From this terrible god's-eye view of the onslaught, the distant grey-white patch upon the main continent that was the Coral City was easily visible. Garro watched in abject horror as the instruments of Horus's betrayal flared red as they punched through the atmosphere and fell upon his battle brothers. At his side, Decius's face was wrapped with a peculiar, grotesque fascination as he struggled to comprehend the magnitude of the destruction. Demeter and Huron Farl were at the shallow ridge before the bunker's steel hatch, shouting at their kinsmen to run and run, to run and not look back. Demeter felt a pang of fear, not for himself, but for his men. They had responded perfectly to his command, falling back in good order and surging away from the enemy along the trench lines they had already cleared. Hundreds of them were already in the bunkers, sealing themselves in to weather the imminent bombardment. But there were many more he knew would not live to make it to the doors. He looked up again at the sickly sky, and Tamita became torn inside. Who betrayed us? He asked himself, echoing the aged dreadnought's question. Why? In Terra's name, why?
Horus,
barked the old warrior, stomping to his side.
Get in there. We have only a few seconds.
No! He retorted. My men first!
Idiot,
growled Huron-Fal, throwing protocol to the wind.
I will stay. Nothing will be able to crack my hide. You go. Now.
He shoved Tamita with his colossal manipulator claw.
Go inside, damn you.
Ullis Tamita stumbled back a step, but his gaze was still on the sky. No, he said, just as flickers of brilliant light turned the day a glittering white. At high altitudes overhead, the first wave of the virus warheads detonated in a series of a wall of airbursts, instantly unleashing a black rain of destruction. The viral clades, capable of hyper-fast mutational change and near exponential growth rates, feasted on native airborne bacteria. The thin, dark bloom of the death cloud rolled out over the coral city, just as the second wave fell. The shells did not explode until they hit the ground, bursting to smother city districts, open fields and trench lines with tides of destructive haze. The Life Eater did as it had been engineered to do. Where a molecule of it touched an organic form, it spread instant, putrefying death. The Coral City, every living thing, every human, animal, plant, every organism down to the level of microbes was torn apart by the virus. It leapt boundaries of species in a second, burning out the life of the planet. Flesh rotted, and blood became ooze. Bones shredded and turned brittle. Istvanians and Astartes alike died screaming, united in death by the unstoppable germs. Tamita saw the warriors running towards him, dying on their feet. Figures fell to the mud as their corpses turned to a red broth of fleshy slurry, viscous fluids seeping from the chinks in their power armor. He knew that he had dallied too long, and he shouted with all his might. "Close the hatch! Close it!" The men in the bunker did as he told them, even as he tasted blood in his mouth and felt his skin prickling with budding lesions. The metal door slammed shut and hissed with a pressure seal, locking him out. Tamita hoped they had been quick enough. With luck, they would not have taken any of the virus inside with them. He managed 2 stumbling steps before he fell, the muscles in his legs singing with agony. Huron-Fal caught him.
I told you to run, you fool.
The captain flung off his helmet with a final, agonized gesture of defiance. It was useless now, the virus having moved effortlessly through the breather grill and into his lungs. His hand flailed the metal flank of the dreadnought and traced a runnel of dark fluid. Even through the pain, Tamita understood. There was a small fracture in the old warrior's ceramite casing. Not enough to have slowed him on the battlefield, but more than the virus needed to reach inside the dreadnought's hull and savage the remnants of the flesh inside.
You lied.
Veteran's prerogative.
Came the reply.
We'll go together then, shall we?
Huron Farl asked, embracing Tamita's body to him, moving swiftly away from the bunker. It took every last effort from Tamita to nod. Blinded now, he could feel the tissues of his eyes burning and shriveling in his head, the soft meat of his lips and tongues dissolving. Huron Farl's systems were on the verge of shutdown as he stumbled to a safe distance, skidding to a halt.
Venus. Death.
Rasped the Voda.
Whose death is ours. One choose it. One day alone you will yield victory.
With a single burning nerve impulse, the mind of the warrior at the heart of the dreadnought uncoupled the governor controls on his compact fusion generator and let it overload. For a moment, there was a tiny star on the battered plains outside the Coral City, marking 2 more lives lost within a maelstrom of murder. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Fucking hell. Making me tear up a little bit, that. Jesus Christ. Garro turned away from the blossom of darkness across the dying world and glared at his protégé.
Now do you believe it? With a planet scarred of life before your very eyes, do you have proof enough of this madness?
Decius spoke in an awed whisper. It's incredible. The power of such destruction. Garro felt unsteady and held out a hand, placing it on the thick armor glass of the gallery window.
It is not over yet. There is one more strike to come before this killing is complete.
Well, the virus. It's consuming the whole planet. All life, everywhere. What other devastation can the War Master turn upon it? Garro's words were weary and hollow.
With so many dead, so fast, the Life Eater burns out quickly. But the mass of corpses it leaves behind moulder and rot.
His face soured.
The remains, they turn to gaseous putrefaction and decay. Imagine it, Southern. All world turned into a gigantic charnel house. Very atmosphere stinking and choked with the stench of new death.
Out in the fleet, the ships were shifting, the formation parting so that a single vessel could move into a predetermined firing position. It was the War Master's flagship, the bright, sword-blade shape of the vengeful spirit.
Of course,
Garro said bitterly.
Horus. He comes to make the killing shot himself. Should have expected no less.
Garro wanted to close his eyes, to look away. But everywhere he turned his gaze, he was haunted by the faces of the men that he had left alone down there. He saw Tamita and Tarvitz. Imagined them dying in the onslaught, hoping, even praying that they might have survived the first wave.
Now they must survive the final blow.
The vengeful spirit drifted to a halt and turned with stately menace to point her bow down at Istvan III. In the silence, there was a flicker of light from the maws of the warship's twin lance cannons along the flanks of the hull. The bolts of blinding fire touched the atmospheric envelope of the planet, and a new color bloomed among the blackened clouds, the searing orange of a firestorm. "A match to tinder," breathed Decius. "The fumes from the decayed dead are lit. Those flames will burn across the world."
All by the hand of Horus,"
said Garro, fighting off the sickness in his heart. They stood there for what seemed like hours, watching the fires cross continents and raze cities as the War Master's flagship orbited above it all, the lone arbiter of Istvan III's destruction. Time fell away as the two Astartes stood witness to the distant slaughter. At last, a loud chime sounded through the chamber over the frigate's intercraft voxnet and shattered the silence.
"Captain Garro to the bridge."
It was Karya's voice, low and toneless.
"We have a problem."
Nathaniel finally turned from the windows and walked away. Decius remained a few moments, his eyes glittering, before he followed suit, running to keep up with his commander. Look it out. Barik Karya couldn't bring himself to look out of the bridge's forward viewports. The slow death of the planet below was abhorrent to him, a brutal act that went against every fiber of his being. He had not taken an oath of fealty to be part of such horror. He scanned the chamber and found Mars glaring at him from the Vox alcove, still gripping the message slip the shipmaster had given him. He advanced towards the junior officer, working to maintain his outward mask of authority. "Is it done?" he demanded. Mars grimaced. "I've sent the signal that you ordered me to send, sir." The young man's displeasure was clear on his face, although Karya could have cared less for his unwillingness to broadcast what was an outright lie. The master snatched the paper from his grip and shredded it between his fingers. The message had gone to the Terminus Est, with Grulgor's command rune carefully forged by Vort. In terse phrases that he hoped would emulate the speech of an Astartes, Karya had informed First Captain Typhon that Eisenstein had suffered a weapons malfunction that prevented it from firing on Istvan III. It was a poor ruse, as thin as the paper he had scribbled it on, but it would buy them time. "What you have done will cost you your rank," hissed Mars in a sullen voice. "You were upon the verge of open mutiny against the War Master's command." "Get your terms straight, boy," retorted Karya. "Mutiny is when the enlisted men take over a vessel. When the ship's master does it, it's called barratry." "Whatever name you give it, it is wrong." "Wrong?" Karya's anger was white-hot in an instant, and he grabbed Mars by the scruff of the neck, dragging him from the alcove and across the bridge. "Do you want to see wrong, boy? Look at that!" He forced the Vox officer's face towards the viewports and the distant carnage. He gave him a half-hearted shove. "Get back to your damn station and keep your thoughts to yourself!" Vort came to his side. "Sir, your pardon? The other ship. I have confirmed it. It's on approach vector at full military thrust." "Within gun range?" She nodded. I've taken the liberty of getting a firing solution. Although that earlier trick won't work this time. If we kill it, the whole fleet will see. The bridge hatch irised open, and the commander of the 7th Company entered with one of his men, his eyes hollow.
Shipmaster,
said Garro gravely.
Is there a matter of urgency?
He nodded. There is. Russell, show him. Vought manipulated the controls on the hololith to display a close-range globe of space around the frigate. A red arrowhead was moving steadily towards the vessel. It's another Thunderhawk, she explained, on an intercept vector.
Tarvitz?
Asked the other Astartes, the one called Decius. Has he been in orbit all this time, or has he returned from surface? Russell shook her head. No. This ship's ident codes are different. The designation is 9 Delta. It belongs to the Sons of Horus, assigned aboard the Vengeful Spirit. He knows, said the Vox officer. Horus knows what's happened here. He's coming to... Shut up, Mars! Snapped Kaya. He could be right, said Decius. Garro ignored the hololith and went to the viewport, searching for the transport with his own eyes. After a moment, he pointed.
There. I see it.
Captain, what are your orders? The shipmaster shifted uncomfortably, perturbed by the strange sensation of events repeating themselves. This was how it had all begun, with a lone Thunderhawk, with Tarvitz, and his warning. Some emotion Kaya couldn't identify crossed Garro's face like a cloud passing before the sun. Then he turned on his heel and marched to the communications panel. Without preamble, he snatched up the Vox pickup and spoke into it.
Thunderhawk gunship. Identify yourself.
Garro glanced back at Vought and threw her a look that said, Be ready. A throaty voice, thick, with a Chthonian accent, growled from the speaker.
My name is Iaxon Cruz, formerly of the Sons of Horus.
Formerly,
repeated Garro.
Yeah, formerly.
Decius nodded to his commander. I know this one, sir. An old campaigner past his time, 3rd captain under Horus. They call him the Half-Herd. Garro took this without comment.
Explain yourself,
he demanded. Kaya found that his hands were tight, his knuckles bloodless with the tension. He heard the agony beneath the veteran's next words, even through the crackling hiss of the Vox channel.
I am no longer part of the Legion. I can no longer be a party to what the War Master's doing.
The battle captain held the Vox away and rubbed at his face. It could be a ruse, insisted Vought. That transport could be packed with Astartes from Horus's ship. Oh, let him come, growled Decius. I'd prefer honest battle to all this subterfuge. Or perhaps a bomb.
No.
Garro's voice brought silence.
She is aboard. He does not lie.
She? Kaya's brow furrowed. Who is he talking about?
There are refugees on that vessel. I'm certain of it. Open the landing bay and prepare to take the Thunderhawk aboard, he ordered.
The blocky ship maneuvered uneasily into the capture cradle, and the thrusters flared out. With grinding hisses, the deck servitors worked the manipulator arms to bring the Thunderhawk forward and down, onto the same grating where Garro and his men had arrived less than a day ago. Hakur and his squad were ready with their combi bolters cocked and aimed, but Garro refused to draw a weapon. He saw Voyan and the others watching him carefully, the question clear on their faces. They thought him mad to do this, he realized. And he would have said the same in their place. He did not blame them, but then they did not see as he did. Even Garro himself found it hard to articulate the compulsion he felt in his heart. He had knowledge. That was it. Although he could not explain it, he knew with absolute certainty that the ship before him carried a cargo as precious as the warning he had dedicated himself to delivering. The dream. It all came back to the dream. The Thunderhawk's forward hatch spat atmospheric gases and yawned open, allowing 4 figures to disembark. At the head was a craggy, aged warrior in the power armor of the Sons of Horus. He walked with the same stiff pride Garro had seen in 100 other Chthonian Astartes. But his expression was one of sorrow, of a soldier who had seen too much. He bore the signs of recent combat. New wounds were still wet with freshly clotted blood, but he paid them no mind.
"Ah, so you were Garro," he said. "Young Garviel spoke of you once or twice. He said you were a good man. And you are Captain Cruz. I would like to say well met, Captain, but that is as far from the truth as it could be."
Cruz nodded heavily.
Aye.
He paused for a moment, and then met Garro's gaze.
"You'll want this then, I suppose."
The old warrior held out his bolter, and the other Astartes tensed at the motion.
"Take it, lad. If you mean to end us, then do it with this. If that is to be the way of things, we can run no further."
Garro took the gun and handed it away to Sendek.
"I'll have it cleaned and returned to you," he said. "I fear I'll need every able man in the coming hours."
The captain stepped forward and offered Cruz his hands.
"I have a mission, to take warning of Horus's perfidy to terror in the Emperor. Will you join me in this?"
"I will at that," Cruz said, accepting the gesture.
"I pledge my command to your mission, such as it is. I'm afraid all I have to offer from the 3rd Company is a single lunar wolf. Getting along in years."
"Lunar wolf," repeated Decius. "Your legion..." The old soldier's eyes flashed with anger.
"I'll not be known as a son of Horus again, you mark that well, lad."
Garro gave a small smile.
"Just so, Captain Cruz. I welcome you to the motley company of the starship Eisenstein. We're number less than 100 battle brothers. That's enough, if the fates smile kindly."
Garro nodded at Cruz's injuries.
"You require a medic, eh?"
The lunar wolf waved the question away, instead turning to gesture to the other passengers from the shuttle.
"I'm remiss. Logan asked me to keep these people safe, and that I've done by bringing them here. You should greet them too."
Nathaniel looked down at an elderly fellow and recognized him instantly.
"You. I know you."
The old man wore the robes of a highly ranked iterator, now somewhat the worse for wear, but still with the manner of his esteemed office beneath his troubled expression. He managed a weak smile.
If it pleases the Battle-Captain, I am Gyril Cinderman, primary iterator of the Imperial Truth."
The words trickled out of his mouth by rote, but the pat response crumbled as he said it.
"Oh,
Well, at least I was. I fear that in recent days I have come to a moment of transition."
as have we all,"
agreed Garro, musing for a moment.
"I remember. I saw you on board the Vengeful Spirit, passing through the landing bay. You were going somewhere. You seem disturbed.
Ah, yes. Cinderman threw a look back at the other two passengers. Such is my vanity that I hoped you might have known me from my speeches, but no matter. He composed himself. Clearly the escape from Horus's ship had taken its toll on the man. Cinderman placed a wary hand on Nathaniel's vambrace. Thank you for the sanctuary you have granted us, Captain Garro. Please, allow me to present my companions. The Lady Mercedes Ollerton, one of the Emperor's documentarists.
Remembrancer.
Nathaniel watched with interest as the ebony-skinned woman's head emerged from beneath a roughly woven travelling hood. She had a peculiar skull that had extended beyond the back of her neck far more than that of a normal human, and it shimmered like glass. He instantly thought of the Jorgal Psyker, but where that Xenos child had been a thing of haphazard, ugly mutation, the documentarist was a dainty and brimming with grace, even under these trying circumstances. Garro caught himself staring and nodded.
My lady, forgive me. I have never met a storyteller before.
She was quite different from what he had expected. Ollerton seemed as if she was made of spun glass, and he was afraid to touch her for fear she might break. You remind me of Loken, she blurted suddenly, the outburst seeming to surprise her. You have the same eyes. Garro nodded again.
Thank you for the compliment. If it was Captain Loken's desire to see you kept safe, then it is mine as well. Do not fear.
Cinderman saw the brittleness in her, and gently guided the Remembrancer to one side. And one other refugee, Captain. Nathaniel saw the last figure, and his throat tightened. It was a woman in simple robes. He blinked, unsure if what he saw before him was real or some kind of strange vision.
You,
he managed. Garro knew her, even though they had never met. He had felt the salt tang of her tears on his face, the ghost of her voice in the depth of his healing trance, and again in the barracks. My name's Euphrates Keeler, she said. The woman laid her hand flat upon his chest plate and smiled warmly. Save us, Nathaniel Garro.
I will,
he said distantly, for long moments losing himself in her steady, shimmering gaze. With effort, he tore himself away and gestured to his men to stand down. Garro took a breath and beckoned Voyen.
Get these civilians to the inner decks where they'll be safer. See to the well-being and report back to me.
Cruz hovered at his side.
Do you have a plan of action? We fight our way out, said Hacker as he approached. Punch through and go to warp. Blunt and direct. How very like a death guard.
Hacker eyed the Lunar Wolf.
I've often heard the same said of your legion.
The older Astartes nodded.
Well, that's true enough. The humors of our brotherhoods do find themselves in lockstep.
He looked at Nathaniel.
To battle, then?
Garro watched Keeler and the others walk away. His thoughts conflicted.
To battle,
he replied. There we go. There we go. That's the end of chapter 9. Well, fucking hell.
Jesus Christ. Well, the whole gang's here. Fucking Cinderman's back. Cinderman, Cruz, Keeler, and Mercedes. Which is pretty mental. Hey, Eggy, Nursey, how are you doing? Eggy, how's the lizard toe lizard, man? It's better than it was yesterday. I don't think it's broken or anything. It's not bruised or anything like that, or swollen. It just hurts. I must have just stubbed it like real fucking bad. Owen, I love this book, man. Best one, yeah. It is very good. It's very, very good. It's because there's so much of what we already know that's getting filled out. Do you know what I mean? Jacka, the description of the death of that guy to the poison thing was brutal. Yeah, it was. Yeah. To meet her. I like to meet her as well. Yeah, it was brutal, that. How he could feel in his eyes and tongue and lips rotting away. Fucking hell. The Dreadnought, though, Huron Fall. When he told them all to get in the bunker. And he said, no, you all get in the bunker. The virus can't penetrate my armor. Because he's a Dreadnought. And he lied. Because there was a crack in his Dreadnought, like, shell. So he lied to get them all in. And then Tamita was like, Tamita saw it as he was dying. Before his eyes rotted away. And was like, you lied. And Huron Fall's like, should we go together then? I was just like, I was tearing up. I was like, oh my god, this is fucking brutal. Shall we go together then? Oh, fuck me. Jesus Christ. Fucking savage. Savage. Jesky, Tamita and Huron Fall's scene gets me every time. That's the first time I've read that scene. That's the first time I've ever read that scene. I know of that scene, but I've never read it. Yeah, I could feel my eyes tearing up when I was reading it. I was like, oh my god, this is so sad. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
But we got Yackton Cruz is back in the house.
I don't know why I do his voice like that.
I have no idea why I do his voice like that.
But it, like my thought process was like, I need to do a different accent with a different voice. And Yackton Cruz is from Terra. So he could have any accent, really. Because he's from Terra. Do you know what I mean? He's not from, like, a specific planet or anything. He's actually from Terra. So he can have any fucking accent, can't he? Cruz sounds American. Yeah. I just gave him an American accent. Because he's Terran born. So he could be from America. Technically. You make Yackton sound like Dizzy from Gears of War. Love it. I don't know who Dizzy is. I don't know who Dizzy is in Gears. Is that a character from like 4 or 5? Because I've not played those games.
Well, that is... He's the redneck one, you mean? Oh, yeah. I remember Dizzy now. I remember Dizzy. Yeah, the one with the cowboy hat. The one with the cowboy hat. I remember him now. Now I remember him. Now you've said it. Now I know who he is. Didn't he, like, drive the car? Or the tank or whatever the fuck it is. Right, so... Is that... That's the end of Istvan 3, isn't it? Was the firestorm the end? Or was it the bombard? Was it was the virus, then the firestorm, and then they just bombed it, didn't they? Is that what they did? Or was the firestorm the last thing? I can't remember. Or did they bomb it again after? They bombed the remains, yeah. Right, okay, so there's another bombardment after that. I thought that was the end of Istvan, but it's not. There's another bombardment. Jesky's fella, yeah. Angron did a Leroy Jenkins too. Oh shit, yeah, he did, didn't he? Forgot about that. Fucking Angron, man. Jesus Christ. Somebody put him on a lead. Fuck me. Do you know what I mean? Put him on a fucking lead. How are you going to put him on a lead, though? Do you know what I mean? Who's going to put him on a lead? Because he doesn't, like... I can't think of anyone that can just do him one-on-one. He usually gets outwitted, doesn't he? Because he's not the sharpest fucking tool in the shed. Oh, yeah, Loken and Torg fight Abaddon and Aximand after the virus. Yeah. So that's after that's after the firestorm, isn't it? That's after the fire. That's in between the firestorm and the final bombing. But wasn't when Cruz, Cinderman, Euphrates and Mercedes arrived on the Eisenstein, wasn't that like one of the very last parts of the book, though? The previous book? Oh, and I just looked up the price of book 6 onwards. Which book 6 though? Because I'm not going to go through every book in order. We'll pick a specific path where we just hit the main things, the main bits of the story that we need. Cause fuck reading 70 books. So I'll figure out exactly what path we take. Because after this, we'll probably read Fulgrim. And then after Fulgrim, it might be the first Heretic. And then after that, maybe Betrayer. And then we might go over to like the Thousand Suns and stuff. Descent of Angels. Nah, I'm not. I don't think we're going to read that one. I mean, you could read it if you want, but I'm not going to read it on stream. Descent of Angels. Jesky's fella fucking can't wait for Betrayer. Yeah, I know. First Heretic and Betrayer are fucking beautiful. Fucking excellent books. But yeah, I reckon I'll do Fulgrim after this. And then maybe First Heretic and Betrayer. But no one wanted to bang Fulgrim, though. Well, they might by the end of the book. You never know, do you? Right, should we jump into chapter 10? Aaron Dembski-Bowden's by far my favourite author in the Black Library, as well as Graham McNeil. Yeah, they're both very good. Dan Abnett's good as well, though, to be fair. He is good. He is. Right. Let's do it. Let's jump into chapter 10. We need to do a bang or pass again someday. Yeah! Yeah, we do. Another smash or pass. Okay, chapter 10. Chapter 10. Terminus Est. The Gauntlet. Into the Maelstrom. As Istvan III revolved beneath them, the ships of the 63rd Expeditionary Fleet moved with it, following the planet as it turned from the watery sunlight of day and into the leaden darkness of twilight. The ships remained in geostationary orbits, the swarm curled around the world in a loose, iron-fingered grip. As night fell, the burning cities still smouldering from the passage of the firestorm were visible, the glow of the massive pyres sullen and shimmering through the murky cloud. So much ash and fumes had been thrown into the planet's atmosphere that the skies were turning into a shroud of chemical haze. In time, the climate would start to shift, becoming colder as the warmth from the Istvan star was blotted out. If there had been any native flora or fauna remaining, this would have been the death sentence for them. But everything that had evolved to life on Istvan III was already dust and cinders. The fleet kept watch, sensors to the surface in search of any who might have survived the virus bombardment, and with the attention of the other ships elsewhere, it had become possible for the Eisenstein to shift slowly out of formation. Kaya and his crew allowed the frigate to come up from the high anchor station, fading into the press of the other warships, but now they had gone as far as they could without courting suspicion. If Eisenstein were to escape the Istvan system, it would not be by stealth. Master Kaya peered into the hololith tank, looking through the glowing symbols to Garro, the Lunar Wolf crews, and the other Death Guard warriors. The fingers of Kaya's left hand were mechanical augments, replacements from an accident years earlier when a plasma holdout gun had overloaded in his grip. Inside them were delicate slivers of circuitry that, among other things, allowed him to manipulate the virtual shapes in the tank as if they were real objects. The hololith showed a basic representation of the Istvan system, distorted to present the close orbital space around the third planet in greater detail. Kaya pointed to a stylized cross drifting high up over the star system's ecliptic plane. Vought has computed a minimum distant vector for us, using the ship's cogitator Horus. If we can reach this point, we will be beyond the sea limit and free to make a warp translation.
Naval terminology was never my strong point, grumbled Cruz. Indulge an old war dog and explain it to me in terms a soldier might grasp.
We can't go to the warp while we're still inside the gravity shadow of the sun, said Sendek briskly, indicating the Istvan star. That is the threshold the shipmaster speaks of. Kaya nodded, a little surprised to find a line Astartes with a basic grasp of astrogation. Indeed, the footprint of the solar energy interferes with the warp transition. We must go beyond it and reach the jump point in order to enter the Imperium with any degree of safety.
It's a long distance, mused Garro. We'll have to travel several light seconds at maximum burn to get there. And with the drives at full, he'll light a torch to show Horus where we're heading.
Cruz leaned into the hololith.
There are capital ships all around. It would only take a couple of them to lay their lances on us and we'd be finished. Somehow, I don't think the War Master will be willing to let us leave unchallenged, eh?
Our void shields are at full capacity, continued Kaya. We can weather a few indirect hits, and we have agility on our side. Decius gave a humorless chuckle. Well, it heartens me to see that a good master here has confidence in his ship and his crew. It must be said that only a fool would not think the odds are stacked high against us. I don't deny it, retorted the naval officer. Given the circumstances, I rate our chances of survival at 1 in 10. And in that, I'm being more than generous. Vought spoke up cautiously. At this time, Eisenstein is close to the rear edge of the fleet pattern. I took the liberty of informing the Fleet Master's office that we were suffering a malfunction in one of our tertiary fusion generators. It is standard naval procedure for a ship under those circumstances to drop back from the main formation to prevent other vessels being damaged in case of a cascade failure and core implosion.
And how long will that lie last us?
Asked Garro. Until the moment we fire our main engines, replied the woman. Cruz made a noise under his breath.
We can't fight our way out of this little scow. We can barely run. We may be able to duck and dive, but how far do you think we'll get before one of those monsters?
He stabbed a finger at the large warships flanking them.
Before one of them gets his fangs into our throat.
Not far enough, said Sendek grimly. Kaya tapped his metal fingers on the control console. It is true that the Eisenstein lacks the velocity to make it to the jump point clear of any pursuit. Well, that is if we follow the most direct course. He traced a straight line from the ship's orbital location to the cross icon. The shipmaster pulled at the course indicator and stretched in another direction. Vought has come up with an alternative solution. It's not without risk, but if we succeed, we will be able to outrun the War Master's guns. Garro studied the new course plot and smiled at the daring of it.
I concur. This is so ordered.
A bold action, countered Decius, but I must highlight the single large impediment to it. The Astartes leaned in and pointed at the massive vessel floating off to the port. That course takes us right across the arc of this ship's engagement zone.
Typhon's command, said Garro. The terminus est.
Callous Typhon fingered the cutting edge of his man-reaper with bare fingers, letting the keen blade pull at the hardened skin there, drawing faint lines of dark Astartes blood. His mood was a mixture of conflicting polar emotions. On one level, he felt a simmering elation at the unfolding events around him, an anticipation of what great things were coming to pass. Typhon felt liberation, if an Astartes could know such a thing. A cold and cruel joy to know that after so long, after so many years of nurturing and hiding his secret wisdom, he would soon be free to walk openly with it. The things he knew, the words he had read in the books shown to him by his kinsman Erebus. The enlightenment the word-bearer's chaplain had brought to Callous Typhon had changed him forever. But Typhon was angry with it. Oh, he knew that his master Mortarion was slowly coming to the same path as he was, thanks to the direction of Horus.
But both the Primarch and the War Master were only just starting down that road. Typhon and Erebus and the others, they were the ones who had truly been illuminated, and it chafed at him that he was forced to play the role of dutiful first captain, when in fact it was his knowledge that outstripped theirs. The time would come, Typhon promised himself, and it would be soon, when he would cut loose from Mortarian's shadow and stand alone. With the patronage of darker powers, Typhon would become a herald before which whole worlds would tremble. From his command throne, the Death Guard's gaze ranged across the bridge of the Terminus Est to take in the servants and Astartes toiling in his service. Their loyalty was to him, and it was emboldening. With that, Typhon's thoughts turned to Grulgor. He frowned and rubbed the black stubble of his beard. In the hours since he had sent Ignatius the command to remove Garro and join the attack on Istvan III, the braggart commander had been uncommonly quiet. Now, the bombardment was over, and Horus's plan was in a moment of ellipsis. He had paused to reflect. Grulgor was not a man to stay silent about his victories, and Typhon knew that Ignatius would relish the chance to relay the story of how he had murdered Nathaniel Garro. The commander's powerful dislike for the battle captain had grown into full-fledged hate over the years, as Grulgor used Garro as a target for his every ill humor and odium. Typhon had no idea where the roots of the enmity had been born, and he did not care. It was Typhon's nature to seek and exploit weakness. The rivalry had become a thing that fueled itself, and Typhon had taken advantage of it. It was easy to use the poison in Grulgor's heart to make him his attack dog, and through Grulgor the first captain had been able to touch the lodges hidden inside the 14th Legion, and guide them as well. He gestured to a chap to serve. You check the communications logs. Have there been any machine calls from the frigate Eisenstein?
The servile was back in a moment. Lord Captain, we show a signal to the fleet command. A message regarding a weapons malfunction and then another, with reference to an ongoing issue with the ship's power system. The former bears Commander Grulgor's authorization.
And nothing else?
The serf bowed low. No, Lord. Typhon rose and placed his battle scythe across his bridge throne.
And where is the Eisenstein now?
Moving on a transition vector, Captain, answered a deck officer. Port Eye quadrant.
Where is he going?
A creeping discontent pushed at Typhon's thoughts.
Vox, hail the Eisenstein and get me a voice link. I want to talk to Grulgor. Now.
Mars listened carefully to the tinny voice in his headset. The opposite number on board the Terminus Est, repeating the orders of Captain Typhon with flat, emotionless precision. He had the Vox pickup in his fingers, holding tightly to it, trembling slightly. Mars hazarded a sideways look at Kaya, Vought, and the Astartes present on the bridge. They were all engaged in conversation, watching as the frigate made its way along the path that the deck officer had set. Mars licked his lips, the tension making him thirsty. It was still difficult for him to fully grasp the chain of events that had led him to this point. His assignment to the Eisenstein had been recent, and in his eyes, it had not come soon enough. Years of dogged service aboard armed transports and system boats had finally been rewarded with a promotion to an actual expeditionary fleet. And while the Death Guard's exploits were not as glamorous or renowned as those of other legions, it was a step up for Mars's ambitions. He coveted command, and there wasn't a day that passed when he didn't think of a future where it would be Shipmaster Tyrin Mars at the throne of a cruiser, running a vessel like his own private kingdom. Now, all of that was in danger of crumbling away. The posting he had been so euphoric to be granted was turning into a millstone around his neck. First, this high-handed Garro had taken command and set things awry, and now Karya himself was following the fool's insane orders. If what he had gleaned was true, this Death Guard had already murdered several of his own, allowed another turncoat to escape destruction, and willfully destroyed a dozen fighters. Mars felt as if he was the only sighted man in a room full of blind people. He looked around the bridge for any glimmer of expression on the faces of the other officers. Anything at all that might have shown him they felt as he did. But there was nothing. Karya and his arrogant executive had them all playing along. It was inconceivable. The shipmaster had defied the decrees of Horus himself, and then Vought had compounded things with a falsification of signals. Mars had tried to reason with Karya, and what had he got in return? Censure and violent reproach. He shook his head. The Vox officer felt soiled by the willing piracy unfolding before him. They had sworn an oath to the fleet, and Horus was at the head of that fleet. What did it matter if the orders the War Master gave were distasteful? A good captain did not question, he served. But Tyrin Mars would never get to do that now. Not after Karya's rebellion. Should he survive, Mars would be tarred with the same brush as the shipmaster, labeled disloyal and doubtless executed. The young man stared at the Vox unit. He had to take steps. Already, he had broken protocol and secretly disabled the annunciator circuits so that the bridge would not be alerted to the incoming signals unless he wished it. That alone was a flogging offense. But Mars saw it was necessary. It was clear that he could only trust himself, and that meant he alone bore the responsibility to warn the rest of the fleet of the duplicity brewing aboard the Eisenstein. He raised the communicator to his lips and drew back into the Vox alcove. Mars was afraid. That was undeniable. But as he began to speak in a careful whisper, a sense of purpose and strength came to him. When this was done, he would have the gratitude of Horus himself. Perhaps, if Eisenstein wasn't destroyed as an object lesson after the rebellion had been put down, he might even solicit the War Master for command of the ship as his reward.
Repeat yourself,
demanded Typhon. He loomed over the chapter surf at the Vox console, the broad form of his armor dark and menacing. The Helot bowed. Lord, the message comes from a person claiming to be Eisenstein's communications officer. He says that Grulgor's missing and that the ship's command crew are in revolt. He claims treachery, sir. The first captain rocked back, and in his mind, the pieces of an unwelcome picture fell into place.
Nah, the bellicose idiot failed me. He tipped our hand to Garro.
Typhon spun in place and barked out orders to the ship's crew.
Sound general quarters. Power to the drives and plough lances. I want an intercept course to Eisenstein. And I want it now!
Captain, the Vox officer, said the serf. What shall I tell him? Typhon smiled grimly.
Send him my gratitude and the commiserations of the War Master. Then get me a link to Malagurst aboard the Vengeful Spirit.
Garro saw the brief flicker of fear on Karya's face as the sing-song siren call blared from the forward command console. Vought was already at the station, punching control strings into the keyboard. "Report," said the shipmaster. Vought paled. "Sense servitors are registering a distinct thermal bloom emanating from the drive blocks of the Terminus Est, sir. And in addition, there are readings of possible bow configuration changes in line with Lance battery deployment."
He knows, snapped Cruz. "Warp, curse him, Typhon knows."
"Aye," agreed Garro, facing Karya.
"All right, it's time. Give the order."
The naval officer swallowed hard and threw a nod to Vought. "You heard the battle, Captain. All decks to combat stations. Release drive interlocks and make for maximum military speed." He gestured to a junior rating. "Get below and alert the esteemed 7A to prepare himself for the jump. I want him ready to go." Karya saw the question in Garro's look. 7A, the navigator," he explained, pointing at the deck. 2 tiers below us, spends his days meditating in a null G-sphere. I'll warrant he doesn't have the slightest idea what's going on up here. He lives only for the thrill of the jump, you'll see." Garro accepted this.
"The warp's stormy. Do you think he'll balk to enter it when your order comes?"
"Oh, he'll go all right," said Karya. "But what I fear is whether he'll survive the leap." Vought broke into the conversation. "What about the gun batteries, sir?" she asked, her voice taut with tension. Karya shook his head. "Make them ready, but I want all available power to be on hand for the void shields and the engine clusters. What we need is strength and speed, not firepower." "Aye, sir. All ahead full," she replied and went to work, implementing the orders. Garro felt a faint shudder through the soles of his boots as the frigate's decking trembled with the abrupt application of velocity. Chimes and bells from the enginarium relays sounded as Eisenstein went instantly from a stately drifting course to a full battle pace.
"Terminus Est is moving from her orbital station,"
said Sendek, reading the data from a picked screen repeater.
"Turning now. Swinging guns to our bearing." "Any other ships following suit?"
asked Garro.
"I don't see 'em, Lord,"
he replied.
"Only Typhon."
"Captain Garro," Vought called. "We have no records of the warship's capabilities. What can Typhon field against us?"
"Sir, if I may,"
broke in Sendek.
"Terminus Est is a unique craft. Not of a standard template construct pattern, well armoured, but ponderous with it, and very burdensome on the turns."
Karya nodded. "That we can play to our advantage."
"Indeed, forward armament is formidable. However, Typhon has an array of bow-mounted lances, and mooring turrets that prey a beam and a head. If he pulls alongside us, we're finished,"
he concluded grimly. "Well, we'll keep the behemoth off our baffles then," said the shipmaster. "Watch the reactor temperatures." "How'd he guess?" Decius snarled at his commander. "Could it not be a coincidence? Perhaps he's only taking ship to other orbit."
"He knows,"
Garro repeated Sendek's words.
"This was inevitable."
"But how?" demanded the younger Astartes. "Did he have a say pluck your intentions from the ether?" Garro's eyes strayed to the Vox alcove and met those of the man cowering there, his face pale and sweaty.
"Nothing so arcane,"
said the battle captain, reading the truth in the naval officer's expression. In 3 swift steps, he was across the bridge chamber and dragging Mars to his feet. The Vox officer appeared to have been crying.
"You,"
growled Garro, his eyes turning flinty.
"You alerted Typhon."
Hanging there in his grip, Mars suddenly jerked and flailed at Garro, weak blows rebounding off his power armor. "Traitor bastard!" he shouted. "You're all conspirators! You've killed us all with your duplicity!" "Fool!" Kaya retorted. "These are the Emperor's men! It is you that is the traitor, you arrogant dolt!" "My oath is to the fleet I serve the War Master Horus," Mars bellowed as he started to weep. "Until death!" "Yeah," agreed Garro, and with a savage twist of his wrist, the Death Guard broke the Vox officer's neck and let him drop to the floor. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Well deserved. There was only a breath of silence after the killing before Vort's voice called out across the bridge. "Lance discharge! Port rear quadrant! We're under attack!" The crew turned their faces away from the viewports as a dazzling sword of white light crossed over the frigate's bow. The shot was a miss, but the edges of the Lance's energy nimbus crackled over the exterior hull. On the bridge, a handful of stations flickered and popped as the backwash raced through the control systems. "I thinks he wants us to heave too," muttered Cruz. "A request's all politely phrased as well," said Sendek. "We'll show him our exhaust by way of reply." "Look sharp," snapped Garro, turning away from the man he had just executed. "Warn Acker and the others to be ready for impacts and decompression. I want those civilians kept alive." The next shot was a hit. At the periphery of its range, the lance fire from the Terminus Est was at its weakest, and yet the collimated beams of energy were still enough to inflict serious damage on a ship with the tonnage of the Eisenstein. The bolts cut through the void shields and sent them flickering. They raked over the dorsal hull at an oblique angle that tore decks open to space and ripped several portside gun turrets from their mountings. Puffs of gas and flame popped and faded. Cascade discharges vaulted down the corridors of the frigate, blowing out relays and setting combustion. In a single secondary explosion, an entire compartment on one of the tertiary tiers became a brief, murderous firestorm as stored breathing gas canisters ignited. A handful of Garro's men left there to stand guard died first as the air in their lungs turned to flames. The backdraft flooded over their bodies, torching the living quarters and sanctum of Eisenstein's small astropathic choir. Safety hatches slammed shut, but the damage was done, and with no more air to burn, the chambers became dead voids of blackened metal and ruined flesh. Some of the impact transferred into kinetic energy that staggered the ship and made it list. But Kaya's officers were battle-hardened, and they did not let it turn them from their course. Joshua Vigor, thank you for the YouTube subscription. Big love, welcome. Terminus Est was moving upon them, the massive battleship filling the rearward pict screens with its deadly bulk.
An explanation, Typhon,
growled Malagurst over the crackling Vox list.
I await an explanation as to why you saw fit to draw me from my duties during this most important of operations.
The first captain grimaced, glad he did not have to look the War Master's equerry in the eye. There was no great esteem held between the Sons of Horus and the Death Guard, a holdover from an incident years earlier when they had disagreed fiercely over a matter of battlefield protocol. Typhon disliked the man's insouciant manner and his barely restrained arrogance. That Malagurst was known by the epithet, the Twisted, was, in Typhon's opinion, an all too accurate description.
Forgive me, equerry,
he retorted.
But I thought it important you be informed that your Primarch's grand plans are in danger of faltering.
Don't test my patience, Death Guard. Shall I call your Primarch to the Vox to have him chastise you instead? Your ship has left the formation. What are you doing?
Attempting to excise an irritant. I have received warning that one of my battle brothers, the lamentably conservative Captain Garro, has taken control of a frigate called the Eisenstein, and even now attempts to flee the Istvan system.
He leaned back in his command throne.
Is that matter enough for your attention? Or should I address myself directly to Horus instead?
Garro,
repeated Malagurst.
It was my understanding that Mortarion had him dealt with.
Typhon snorted.
The Death Lord has been too lenient. Garro should have been allowed to die of his wounds after the battle on Istvan Extremis. Instead, Mortarion hoped to turn him, and now we must pay for that folly.
Malagurst was silent for a moment. Typhon could imagine his unpleasant face creased in thought.
Where is he now?
I am pursuing the Eisenstein. I will destroy that ship if I can.
The equerry sniffed archly.
Where does Garro think he can go? The storms in the warp have grown fiercer with every passing hour. A small vessel like that cannot hope to weather a journey through the Imperium. He'll be torn apart.
Perhaps,
admitted Typhon.
But I would like to make sure.
I have your course on my data slate,
said the other Astartes.
You'll never catch him in that cumbersome barge of yours. He's got too much distance on you.
I don't need to catch him, Malagurst. I just need to wound him.
Then do it, Typhon. If I am forced to inform Horus that word of his plans has been spread unchecked, it'll be you who feels his displeasure soon after I do.
The first captain made a throat-cutting gesture, and his Vox attendant severed the connection. He glanced down from his command throne to where the shipmaster of the Terminus Est was bowed and waiting. The man spoke.
Lord Typhon, the Eisenstein has altered her course. It's travelling at full burn towards Istvan III's satellite, the White Moon.
Come to New Edin,
snapped Typhon, rising once more.
Match Eisenstein's course and get me a firing solution.
The shipmaster faltered.
Lord, the moon's gravity well.
That was not a request,
he growled.
Still with us?
Vought read the distance vectors from a picked screen.
Aspect change confirmed. Terminus Est is following. No signs of pursuit. Just so, said Kaya. Continue on a zigzag heading. Don't make it easy for Typhon's gunners to get a firing angle.
Garro stood directly behind the shipmaster, looking over his head and out of the viewports. The stark, chalk-coloured surface of Istvan III's largest moon steadily grew larger as he watched it, craters and mountains taking shape on the airless surface. To an untrained observer, it might have seemed like the frigate was on a collision course.
Be honest with me.
Garro spoke quietly, so only Kaya could hear him.
What chances are that vote's computations will be in error?
The dark-skinned man glanced up at him.
Well, she's very good, Captain.
The only reason she hasn't been given a ship of her own is because she has a few issues with fleet authority. I have faith in her. Garro looked back at the moon.
My faith is in the strength of a starship's hull and the power of gravity,
he replied. But even as he said the words, they seemed hollow and incomplete. Kaya eyed him curiously. Perhaps he sensed the captain's disquiet. The universe is vast, sir. One can find faith in many places. Coming up to first course correction, called the deck officer. Stand by for emergency maneuvers.
Mark,
said a servitor in a toneless voice.
executing maneuver.
The frigate's deck yawed, and Garro felt the motion in the pit of his stomach. With all the available energy channeling into the drives, the ship's gravitational compensators were lagging behind, and he felt the turn more distinctly than usual. He gripped a support stanchion with one hand and put his weight on his organic leg.
Thermal bloom from their bow,
warned Sendek, having taken it upon himself to assist the bridge crew at the sensor pulpit.
Discharge! Incoming fire, multiple lance bolts!
Push the turn! Shouted Kaya. He said something else, but the words were drowned out as heavy rods of tuned energy struck the aft of the Eisenstein and pitched her forward like a ship cresting a wave. The compensators were slow again, and Garro's arm shot out and grabbed the shipmaster, halting his fall towards a console. The battle-captain felt something in Kaya's wrist dislocate. "Engine 3 power levels dropping!" shouted Vought. "Coolant leaks on deck 9 and 7. Kaya recovered and nodded to Garro. "Increase thrust from other nozzles to compensate. We can't let them gain any ground." The ship was trembling. The throbbing vibration of a machine pushed to the edge of its operating limit. Sendek called out from his station.
"We're entering the White Moon's gravity well, Captain! Accelerated!"
Kaya gasped as he snapped his augmetic hand back into place. "Ah! Point of no return, Garro," he said. "Now we'll see if Rossell is as good as I said she was." "If the calculations are off by more than a few degrees, we'll be nothing but a new crater and a scattering of metal shavings," Decius said. The moon filled with the forward viewport.
"Have faith,"
Garro replied.
"Lord, we have been captured by the lunar gravitational pull," reported Typhon's shipmaster. "Our velocity is increasing. I would humbly suggest that we attempt to evade and..."
"If we break contact now, the Eisenstein escapes,"
the first captain said flatly.
"This vessel has power enough to pull free, yeah? You'll use it when I order you to, and not before."
"Yes, by your command."
Typhon glared at the gunnery officer.
"You. Where are my kills? I want that frigate obliterated. Get it done."
Lord, the ship is agile and our cannons are largely fixed emplacements.
Results, not excuses,
came the growling retort.
Do your duty, or I'll find a man who can.
On the giant pict screen over his command throne, Typhon watched the trails of fumes and wreckage spilling from Eisenstein and smiled coldly. Rossel Vought blinked sweat out of her eyes and pressed her hand on the flat panel of the control console. The reflected ivory starlight from the white moon's surface illuminated the bridge with stark edges and hard lines. It was a funerary glow, devoid of any life, and it seemed to draw her energy from her. She took a shuddering breath. The lives of every person aboard the frigate was squarely in her hands at this moment, gambled on a string of numbers she had hastily computed while Istvan III had died before her eyes. She was afraid to look at them again for fear that she might find she had made some horrible mistake. Better that she not know. Better she hang on to the fragile thread of confidence that had propelled her to this daring course in the first place. If Vought had made any miscalculations, she would not live to regret it. The theory was sound. She could be sure of that. The gravity of the dense, iron-heavy white moon was already enveloping the Eisenstein, dragging it down towards the satellite's craggy surface. If she did not intervene, it would do exactly that. And like the dour Death Guard had said, the frigate would become a grave marker. Vaught's plan was built on the mathematics of orbits and the physics of gravitation, a school of learning that extended back to the very first steps of mankind into space, when thrust and fuel were precious commodities. In the 31st Millennium, with brute force engines capable of throwing starships wherever they needed to go, it wasn't often such knowledge was required. But today, it might save their lives. Rossel glanced over her shoulder and found both Barrick and the Death Guard battle captain looking back at her. She expected judgmental, commanding stares from both men, but instead, there was silent assurance in their eyes. They were trusting her to fulfill her promise. She gave them an answering nod and went back to her task. Klaxons warned of new salvos of incoming fire. She tuned them out of her thoughts, concentrating instead on the complex plot of trajectory and flight path before her. There was no margin for error. As Eisenstein fell towards the planetoid, the drives would shift and ease her through the white moon's gravitational envelope, using the energy of the satellite to throw the frigate about in a slingshot arc, boosting the vessel's sublight speed, projecting her away towards the jump point. The Terminus Est would never be able to catch them. The frigate's shuddering grew as the craft entered the final vector of the slingshot course.
Prepare for course correction!
Vought shouted over the rumbling.
Mark!
Streaks of fire jetted from the Eisenstein's port flank as the autonomic trim controls slewed the ship away from the moon. The bow veered as if it wrenched by an invisible hand, shifting the axis with brutal force. The extremes of tension between the lunar gravity and the artificial G-forces generated inside the vessel knotted and turned. Hull plates popped and warped as rivets as big as a man sheared off and broke. Conduits stressed beyond their tolerances ruptured and spewed toxic fumes. Forced past her limits, Eisenstein howled like a wounded animal under the punishment, but it turned, meter by agonizing meter, falling into the small corridor of orbital space that would propel the frigate away from Istvan III.
Typhon!
Shouted the shipmaster, throwing procedure aside by daring to address the first captain without the prefix of his rank.
We must evade! We cannot follow the frigate's course.
We'll be drawn down onto the moon. Our mass is too great. Furious, the Death Guard struck the naval officer with a sudden backhand, battering the man to the decking with his cheekbones shattered and blood streaming from cuts. Evade, then, he spat. But warp, curse you. I want everything thrown at that bloody ship before we let him go. The rest of the bridge crew scrambled to carry out his orders, leaving the mewling shipmaster to tend to himself. Typhon snatched up his man-reaper and held it tightly, his anger hot and deadly. He cursed Garro as the Eisenstein slipped out of his grasp. The Terminus Est bore down, the warship's drives casting a halo of crackling red light, a shark snapping at a minnow. The craft groaned as the monstrous thrust of her drives tore the ship out of the White Moon's gravity well, the blade-sharp prow crossing the path of the frigate. As it did so, every lance cannon on Typhon's battlecruiser erupted as one in a screaming concert of power, tearing across the dark towards the fleeing vessel. "Incoming fire!" barked Sendek. "Brace for impact!" Garro heard the words, and then suddenly he was airborne, the deck dropping away from him. The Death Guard spun and tumbled across the bridge, rebounding off stanchions and clipping the ceiling before the energy of the slamming impact dissipated, and he collided with a control console. Nathaniel shook off a daze and dragged himself back to his feet. Small fires were burning here and there as servitors struggled to bring the bridge back to any semblance of order. He saw Kaya sprawled over the command throne, with Vort at his side. The woman had a severe cut across her scalp, but she seemed to be unaware of the streaks of blood down her cheek. Dimly, he heard Reactant crews swear in Chthonian as he climbed off the deck. "Report," Garro commanded, the rough metallic smoke that hazed the air tasting acrid on his tongue. Sendek called out from the other side of the chamber. "Terminus Est has broken off pursuit, but that last salvo hit us hard. Several decks have vented to space, drive reactors are in flux, engines are verging on critical shutdown." "Slingshot maneuver was successful. We're on course for intercept with jump point." Decius grunted as he pushed aside a fallen section of paneling and stepped over the lifeless body of a naval rating. "What good is that if we explode before we get there?" Garro ignored him and moved to Kaya's side. "Is he alive?" Vort nodded. "Just stunned, I think." The shipmaster waved them off. I could stand on my own. Get away." Garro disregarded the man's complaints and pulled him to his feet. "Decius, call the apothecary to the bridge." Kaya shook his head. "No, not yet. We're not finished here, not by a long shot." He staggered forward. "Russell, what's the navigator's status?" Vort cringed as she listened to a Vox headset. Even at distance, Garro could hear yelling and shouting from the tinny speaker. "7A is still alive, but his adjutants are panicking. They're climbing the walls down there. They're weeping about the warp. I can hear them screaming about darkness and storms." "Well, if he's not dead, then he can still do his job," Kaya said grimly, chewing down his pain. "And that goes for all of us." "Aye," said Garro. "Order the crew to make preparations for warp translation. We will not have a second chance at this." "We may not have the first chance," grumbled Decius beneath his breath. Garro turned on him and his face hardened. "Brother, I have reached my bounds with your doleful conduct. If you have nothing else to volunteer but that, I will have you go below and join the damage control parties." "I call it as I see it," retorted Decius. "You said you wanted the truth from me, Captain." "I would have you keep your comments to yourself until we are away, Decius."
Nathaniel expected the younger Astartes to back down, but instead Decius stepped closer, moderating his tone so that it would not carry further. I will not. This course you have set us upon is suicide, sir. As surely as if you had bared our throats to Typhon's scythe. He stabbed a finger at Vought. You heard the woman. The navigator is barely sane with the terror of what you ask of him. I know you've not been deaf to the reports of the turbulence in the warp. A dozen ships were displaced just on the voyage to Isfahan.
Nah, that is rumor and hearsay,
Cruz snapped, coming closer. You sure? Decius pressed.
They say the warp has turned black with tempests and the freakish things that lurk within them. And here we sit, on a ship held together by rust and hope, with an intent to dive into that ocean of madness.
Garro hesitated. There was truth in Decius's words. He was aware of the talk circulating about the fleet before the attack on the Coral City, that there had been isolated incidents of navigators and astropaths going wild with panic when their minds stroked the Imperium. The sea of warp space was always a chaotic and dangerous realm through which to travel, but so the reports had hinted, it was rapidly becoming impassable.
We have already tested ourselves with this ship beyond all rational margins, hissed Decius. If we touch the warp, it'll be a step too far. We will not endure a blind voyage into the Imperium.
The skin on the back of Garro's neck prickled. The innate danger sense that was second nature to an Astartes sounded in him, and he turned towards the bridge's main hatch. Standing in the doorway, wreathed in thin grey smoke, the woman Keeler was watching him. The battle captain blinked, for one moment afraid that reason had fled from him, and she was some kind of ephemeral vision. But then he realized that Decius saw her too. Keeler picked her way through the wreckage and came to stand directly in front of him. Nathaniel Garro, I came because I know you need help. Will you accept it?
You're just a remembrancer,
said Decius. But even his bluster was waning before her quiet, potent presence. What help can you offer?
You'd be surprised,
murmured Cruz. The survival of the ship is measured in moments, she continued. And if we remain in this place, we will surely die. We must all take a leap of faith, Nathaniel. If we trust in the will of the Emperor, we will find salvation.
What you ask of him is blind belief in phantoms, Decius argued. You cannot know we will survive.
I can. Keeler's reply was quiet, but filled with such complete certainty that the Astartes were given pause by it. From the forward consoles, Vought called out.
Captain, the ship's Geller field will not stabilize. Perhaps we should abort the warp jump. If we enter the Imperium, it may fail completely and then the ship will be unprotected.
You have only one choice, Nathaniel, said Keeler softly.
There will be no abort, deck officer.
Garro watched the shock unfold on Decius's face as he spoke.
Take us in.
There we go. End of chapter 11.
So,
What do we think? So, if you think this book has been good up until this point, now it's fucking started. Yeah, from this moment on. Here we go. Cecil. Mars getting fucking yeeted like a ragdoll was so funny. Jeski's fella, Garro to Decius. Now listen here, you little shit. I don't know what to think about Decius. I don't know. I don't know which way he's gonna go. You like Decius? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You think he's doing the right thing? Decius? Jeski's fella, he reminds me of Leandros from the first Space Marine game. Yeah, I know what you mean. Questioning but not getting in the way. Yeah. But it's the way that he was questioning. It was like when he was saying, like... He said something and that was what made me go... like... And it was, It was like... What if Horus is right? That was it. That was the thing that made me go, ooh, hang on. What's going on in your brain? Like, what are you thinking about? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, that might have been just before they watched him bomb the Astartes. Codex Astartes does not support this action. Fucking Leandros, man. Fuck Leandros. Pain in the fucking arse. I don't know. I like that he's got the balls to just speak his mind to his superior. I like that. I'm a fan of that. I just don't know. I just don't know what his intentions are. Do you know what I mean? Oh, and Garro showed him the bombing and instantly he was like, oh fuck. Yeah, he kind of was, weren't he? I hope that he stays true to the course. But at the moment, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So, they managed to escape. They managed to escape the main fleet of the 63rd expedition. So they managed to escape Horus's fleet. And then, Typhon went after him. And thanks to fucking Vought and her calculations of old school fucking gravity fucking slingshotting, they managed to outrun the Terminus Est and Typhon. So, but now they're going into the warp. When the astropaths and the navigators are basically going apeshit. So the astropaths and navigators are psychers, basically. The Imperial sanctioned psychers.
So astropaths can send and receive psychic messages through the warp, so from great distances, effectively. And navigators can navigate a ship through the warp to a destination in real space. So they are very connected with the Imperium, with the warp. So if something fucky is going on inside the warp, they will feel it, they will know it, and it'll send them nuts because they're so connected and linked to the warp. So they know that the warp is fucked at the moment, but they have no choice. They have to enter the warp, or they will get killed. So I'm not going to delve into what that means anymore, because we'll find out, but it's obviously not good. But they have no choice. It's the only option to escape the system. You've got to get into the warp and travel. And also, what it said right at the end as well, which is something to remember for next week, is that the Geller fields of the ship aren't working properly. So what a Geller field is basically a force field that protects the ship from the warp. And they're not working either. So the warp's going apeshit at the moment, and the Geller fields on the ship aren't working properly, and they're going into the warp. So basically, the worst thing that could be happening right now is happening. Like the actual worst thing that could possibly be happening is happening right now. There's nothing worse. Like when traveling in the warp, there's nothing worse than warp storms and no Geller fields. That is the worst case scenario. Jesky's fella, basically out of the frying pan and into the fire. Exactly that. Like, there is no, I can't think of a worse scenario. Snow, more like into the volcano. Yeah. Yeah. It's about as bad, like, it's about as bad as it could get, really, for them. So, yeah. So that's good. Cecil, I'm really sure that he's on the right side here. Like, he started getting mad after, in his own words, slaughtering his battle brothers. And at that point, of course, you're gonna question pretty heavily if you're doing the right thing. I guess so. Then at the end, it was, what is the point of this if we're just gonna fucking die to the warp anyway? Which is totally reasonable. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I don't know. I'm sure we'll find... I'm sure we'll find out. It's not gonna be good. Whatever it is. But yeah. This is the turning point of this book. This is where
shit goes down, so to speak. This marks like quite a turn from what we've previously read. Snow, it's gonna be all cats and puppies, I'm sure. Yeah. Fluffy little munchkins. It's gonna be beautiful. It's all gonna be like flowers and fields and... Do you know what I mean? Butterflies and shit like that. It's nice, the warp. Nice place. Oh, motherfuckers. You have no idea what's coming like. Oh, one thing I did notice, that early on, I think it was towards the beginning of chapter 10, they referred to Grulgar as the late captain. The late captain of the second. So they're saying that he's dead. They did refer to him as the late captain. So. But again, we didn't see him die. We didn't see him die, and I feel like he was a bit of a main character to not see die. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he was too a bigger part of the story to not have a death scene. But they did say the late captain, the late second captain, or the late captain of the second company. They did refer to him as dead. But again, it was like a throwaway sentence. What do you guys think? Do you think Grulgar's dead or not? I don't know. I feel like I don't think he is, because I feel like we would have got a death scene. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Do you think Grulgar's dead? The book's saying he's dead, but I don't think he's dead. I just don't think he's dead. I think he fucking escaped that room. Cecil, I pretty much agree with you. Feels very weird to just not mention him dying, or at least getting locked out. Jack and I don't think so. Y'all think he's alive as well? Jacker, can't you be late as in he doesn't have his position yet? What, as if he didn't set his alarm? No, because he was the second captain, weren't he? He was basically second in command under Typhon. Because Typhon's the captain of he's the first captain. And Grulgar was the second captain. So it said the late captain, as in like he's dead. But we didn't see him die. And I just don't think that they would have given Grulgar an off-screen death. Snow, hey, my bad, guys. I slept in. What did I miss? Yeah, I can't see him being dead. I can't see. Chaka, no, I mean as form. No, because he. It would say late as in late means dead. Late means dead. In that context. In the context of that sentence, it means dead. Jessica, the only thing Grulgar is late to is his own fucking funeral. Calling someone the late captain is referring to dead. Yeah. I don't think he's dead. I'm going to put my balls on the table now. And not be indecisive. I do not think he's dead. I do not think he's dead. There's no way. There's no way he'd get. He was like, even though Typhon was like the boss. Do you know what I mean? Even though Typhon's like Grulgar's boss, Grulgar himself was like Garro's main antagonist, weren't he? Like his main rival. There's no way that he'd get an off-screen death. There's no way. There's no way. That'd be fucking rubbish if he just died in that room and there was no fanfare about it. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way he's dead. He's hiding somewhere on the ship, I reckon. I reckon he's escaped that room. He must have. There's no way. There's no way that they're not going to describe Garro watching fucking Grulgar's body get melted by the life eater virus that got broken in that room. There's no way. There's no way that they wouldn't describe that. No way. No way. Not having it. I'm putting my balls on the table. I don't think he's dead. I don't think he's dead. I reckon he's gonna fucking show up and be a fucking pain in the ass later on. There's no fucking way. Unless he's... No, because they would have known, wouldn't they? If he fucked off in like an escape pod or whatever. They would have known. Because they'd have been like, oh, an escape pod's been sent. Do you know what I mean? Like in Star Wars when R2-D2 and C-3PO dust it at the beginning when they escape. It'd be like that, wouldn't it? So he must still be on the ship. There's no way. No way he's dead. He's too much of an arsehole. And he was too big of a fucking antagonist. But yeah, that was chapters 10 and 11 of the Eisenstein. Like I said, we are at the fucking turning point of this book now. They're entering the warp. During warp storms with no Gellerfields. So it's not a great time to be a Garro, I'll be honest. But yeah, that's that. 10 and 11, done. How many chapters are in this? Oh, we're well over halfway. We're well over halfway through the book now. Chaka, unless he got cancelled and killed quick. Nah, it'd be like... It'd be like... Who's like a main baddie? It'd be like watching Terminator 2 and the Liquid Metal Man getting killed off screen. The T-1000 getting killed off screen. That's what it'd be like. Do you know what I mean? or it'd be like Darth Vader getting killed off screen. Because the whole first half of the book was like, oh, by the way, Grulgar's an arsehole. Grulgar's an arsehole. Have we told you that Grulgar's an arsehole? Do you know what I mean? All the way through it. like literally the whole first half of the book. So I just can't. I can't see him being dead. I'm sorry. I'm just not having it. I'm just not having it at all. Just can't see it. I just can't see it. And plus, I want to see Garro kick his fucking teeth in. I thought Garro was gonna kill him in that fucking thing. Chaka, I know I'm just messing. It's fashion to cancel people these days. Oh yeah, yeah. Fucking Grulgar would be getting a cancelling. Horus would be getting a cancelling. Erebus would definitely be getting a cancelling. And Typhon. Typhon's a twat as well. Fucking Typhon being little fucking bum chums with fucking Erebus as well. That was a little thing that came up, wasn't it? That they'd been in cahoots for a long, long time. Typhon and Erebus. That came up. That was some nice little information. So now we know Typhon is just as much of a twat as Erebus. So he's right up there now. He's up there on my list. He's not quite as high as Erebus, but he's probably in a good second. Snow dirty bastards stick together. Bastard. Typhon, you bastard. Jack, fucking Erebus, knew he'd be back. Oh. Oh. Fucking Erebus, dude. Fucking Erebus. You wait. You haven't seen nothing yet with Erebus. He is a power dickhead. Absolute twat weasel. Like, Snow, you don't know hate until you know Erebus. He's a total shitbag. Like, a total shitbag. Absolute shitbag. Oh, bloody hell. Well, there we go, guys. I hope you're enjoying the book. I hope you are enjoying the book, but I'll tell you what, you're going to enjoy it a lot more from the next chapter onwards. Because I can't fucking wait now until next week. Now that we're here, this was the point that I was waiting for. I've enjoyed the book so far, especially like last week's chapter with the face-off in the fucking munitions room. That was so sick. But yeah, this right now is the point that I've been waiting to get to. Snow, I've been waiting for this since the moment you started this book. Yeah, this is the bit that I've been fucking waiting for. I know exactly how you feel, Snow. I know exactly how you feel. This was the bit that I wanted to get to, because I've never read this bit before. I know what happens, but I've never read it. Like, so I am very fucking excited to read this.
Oh, it was chapter 9 and 10, weren't it? Chapters 9 and 10. We're doing 11 next week. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. Oh. Jacker, there is way too long till next week. Yeah, I know. I don't understand why we aren't 300 people listening to this. I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully one day. That'd be nice. It would be lovely. But we'll see. Maybe one day. We just got to spread the word. Spread the word of our Lord and Savior, the Emperor of Mankind. Do you know what I mean? That's what we've got to do. Got to share that shit. For Nigel. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even paying Nigel at this point. Nigel's just doing it for free. So. Nigel's got to take care of this entire librarian. Snow, one day, 5 years into the readings. Yeah, I know. Oh, speak of the devil and he shall appear. What's up, Nige?
In the name of the Emperor, please do join our Discord community.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, join our Discord community. There's the link. I've dropped it. We've got the best community there.
Slam King, you look tired. Maybe it is time to retire to
It
your
is time.
chambers.
It is time to retire to my chambers. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right, Nigel. I'm very tired. Oh, guys. Hey, you alright, Clunge? How you doing, mate? Caught me right at the end. Big Nige. Oh. But we have got the best Discord community, so join our Discord community. We're fucking awesome. Right. Oh, I am going to say goodbye. I'm going to say goodbye. I will be on tomorrow for some Thursday Night Terror. So thank you, as always, for joining us. What you got to say, Nigel?
Thank you so much for joining us, dear Queechlings. We will see you next week.
Oh, that's nice, Nigel. Right, Nigel will see you next week. But I will see you tomorrow for some Thursday Night Terror at 7 p.m. So thank you, as always, for hanging out with me. Thank you for the subs and the gift subs. Thank you for picking up merch. If you pick up merch, all that shit helps me to keep this shit going. And, yeah, honestly, thank you so much, guys. You guys are fucking awesome. I am going to say goodnight. I'm going to retire to my chambers, as the good Nigel has said. So, until tomorrow, you beautiful bastards, peace and fucking love. In the name of the Emperor, guys. Ta-da!